So far, what we've been talking about is how this book was being sold to the public, how much investment that he has, that Jason has invested on this book, how much money he has spent, right? So far. And this is, so far, that's what we talked about. And this is just the initial run back in November or September. This is just the initial run. He's down a lot of money. He's down like 11 grand right now. Okay. He has to make his money back from this somehow. Unbeknownst to everybody else, Jason didn't lose as much money as we make it seem to be. Because there is a common practice within the retailers of exclusive variant covers. And the only way that you're going to know is if you are part of this whole organization of retailers. This is the biggest deception that exclusive variant retailers do, and the common public don't know about it. And I'm gonna fucking say it. I mean, like, it doesn't really matter because I'm not part of this organization. So I have no friends in the industry. Like, I have no friends within the retail industry. Like, I don't make friends with anybody of those because I got burned when I first started. I got burned really hard and I was just trying to be nice. So there's no more Mr. fucking nice guy. That's why when you see a retailer exclusive variant cover, sometimes you will see we partnered up with this retailer and this retailer and this retailer. It's so that they can actually spread out the costs. So it doesn't end up being so much, as much as what Jason has spent. I mean, like, can you imagine, Lewis, 12 grand, 12,400 spread out 5 ways? Like, it's not that much, right? For each retailer. And you got an exclusive variant cover. And your logo will be at the back of the exclusive variant. Like, you can check your logo now. What do you think? Like, do you think the exclusive variant covers that you get that says, you can get this book at this and this and that, and they're all in that one little box at the back of the book? Do you really think that they were just friends? No, that was a business move. They shared the costs, right? So in order to actually, if you're not going to be sharing the cost and you did what Jason did, you're going to be doing the most common practice that a lot of retailers do when they do an exclusive variant on their own, and they have to spend $12,000, just like Jason did, and that's bulk purchases. What I mean is by bulk purchases is that he already has a Rolodex of flippers, of eBay sellers, as well as whatnot sellers nowadays, and retailers that are willing to take on the costs of a bulk purchase of their book. But before we go to the bulk buyers and how much they actually make, we're gonna go back and actually look at the limited quantities that they claim that this book is. Remember, Marvel needs 3,000 minimum, but when you look at your COA, it doesn't say 3,000 on it, does it? It doesn't say limited to 3,000. It says limited to 800, 750, 700, 300, 200, all the way down to 100 copies. Okay? The reason why they're limiting it so that they can create the hype that there is only limited printed of this book, right? This is a practice that should say in the COA how many is printed instead of limited copies. That's another loophole that most retailers use. They always say that this book is only limited to. They're not lying. It is limited to.
Because that's
what they're limiting
you to buy.
Exactly. That's what they're limiting it for you to buy, right? It should say printed, right? It should say limited print, and then it should say what the number is. You know what I mean?
I think that would cause more confusion than it's worth.
No, the public needs to know how much is printed, not limited to buy. So when you ask a retailer, why do they do this? Again, it's because they need to create a somewhat of a hype that is very limited, that is scarce. Just because something
Also,
is rare,
people naturally like to buy things that are rare
yeah,
and makes them feel special that they own it. No
yeah,
one wants an item that they printed 3
yeah,
million of, but
yeah,
and it's still cool.
yeah,
They want to buy something they only made less than 100
yeah.
of.
Remember, just because it's rare doesn't necessarily mean that it's sought after. But what they're doing by limiting it, they're not just making it sought after, but they're making it rare, right? But then you ask them like, how? Well, they printed 3,000. What do you do with the rest of them? This is the most common response that they say: we throw them out, right? They're damages. We throw them out, right? Here's what I will tell you: if in your contract it states with Diamond, anything that is damaged, report it to us and we'll replace it. Okay, they'll replace it for you as long as it's within the 3-day window. You can report the damages to Diamond or Penguin Random House or Lunar, but they're gonna tell you must destroy these books
By
and
the way, they
show.
still make you pay for shipping.
And they still make you pay for shipping.
Yes.
They're gonna tell you to destroy these books, and then because the new ones are on its way, right?
And you'll still barely get sent destroyed books.
Yeah, probably.
No, that's
Now,
not probably.
yeah. So now that's what retailers will say to you, right? They will tell you that, well, we destroy their damages, we have to destroy them, right? Okay. What if, and this one is not a conspiracy. There is a retailer out there that can back me up on this, because there's actually, not only that I got the information from them, but I got the information from the source. So when they say to destroy these copies, they said, okay, we'll destroy the copies. Great. Fantastic. What if I tell you that they didn't destroy those copies? For this case, we're going to begin with Black Flag Comics Ghost Rider exclusive variant cover again. Black Flag Comics will then reserve 300 copies for the sole use for selling in eBay. The 300 copies is essentially just a round number now. It could be any number. It could be 500, 400, it could be anything. For the sake of the argument, we're going to use 300 copies. What they will do is then they will report 150 copies physically damaged to their distributor of choice. In this case, for this argument, let's use Diamond Distribution, which is the most popular distribution channel for all comic book retailers. 150 copies damage will be reported to Diamond, and then those damages will then be replaced. The replaced copies will then go back to Black Flags. What's going to happen is that their 300 count will still be at 300 going to eBay. But what's going to happen to that 150 copies that's physically damaged? Instead of destroying those copies, they will actually take those copies and give it to their unknown eBay partner or partners. It could be their family members, friends, or just a business partner, and they could give it to them or sell them the 150 damaged copies for a discounted price. But what's going to happen is, for the sake of the argument, let's just say that they're family members and they're going to start them off with 150 initial copies that are not damaged. Along with the 150 physical damages, that would mean that they would have at least 300 copies going to eBay. Therefore, 600 copies will not be sold on eBay. And those 600 copies will turn into profits, which will then be shared between the two partners once the run is done. Some retailers, and some of the big ones, Black Flag including, they have eBay partners. Whether it's family members or friends, whatnot, they have eBay partners that they will give these destroyed copies to and sell it for much, much cheaper. you can get these books probably at about $8-10 a piece. And they sell them to flippers too as well. And flippers would flip them for what? 20, 25? Further promoting the book. So Jason actually gets money from reporting damages. So these damages do not get destroyed at
And you
all.
also shouldn't be really greedy with it. Like if you get printed like 3,000, you should only really have max report like 100, 150. Otherwise, they'll actually investigate your case.
Yeah, those destroyed copies, yeah, they are being resold to eBay. And this is the honest truth, right? But getting back to the bulk pricing. Now, with the bulk pricing, he would contact these retailers 2 months prior to the pre-orders, for the pre-orders, the IPOs for the public. And he would give them a bunch of deals. Now, without naming any names, Lewis, you know for a fact I've done this before. I bought books from a retailer for like X amount, and then we sold it. Lewis showed me a cover of Action Comics 1000 with Gabriel Del Auto. We did that, right? That's another retailer.
It was a very interesting time. It was like maybe 35 a book, and then we sold it for like 80.
And we bought in bulk too as well, right? We're in their Rolodex now, right?
So they'll call every time that there's an exclusive cover.
They will call you each time that there is an exclusive variant cover 2 months prior to it.
Because
right?
if you bought once, why wouldn't you buy twice?
Exactly. So now the main focus for Jason during this time is to get 25% of his investment back, at least. So let's just say that 10 comic book stores ordered 40 copies at $15 a book. How much are we looking at, Lewis?
That's about $6,000.
$6,000, and his initial investment was 12 grand.
A little over 12 grand.
A little over 12 grand. I think you said about $12,400. And then he just got 10 retailers to spend $15 a book at 40 copies a piece.
For 6 grand, he has made roughly 50% back.
So he already made 50% back of his investment 2 months, even before the release of the book or some of the images has even been shown to anybody. So that's before the initial, that's before the IPO, right? So now what you're wondering is like, yeah, the retailers, yeah, he has a Rolodex of retailers, but who else are these bulk buyers? Who are these people? Let's just say that only 3 retailers signed up to do a bulk pricing of 40 copies and for $15 a book. Okay, only 3. There's still some missing in there. Who are these buyers, right? If not retailers, they're flippers, they're influencers, they're eBays and whatnots. We've mentioned that before. These are basically the group of people that I like to call the organization. Was I part of this organization? At one point, yeah. This is the most common deception practice that retailers, exclusive variant retailers do that none of you guys know. Or if you guys do know, you choose to ignore it. You choose to ignore it. It's just, this is just what happens, right? It's a group of individuals.
Convenient ignorance is what I would name it.
That's what you would say. The organization is basically individual sellers and flippers that are in consistent lists. They're in a consistent list of buyers and all retailers. Retailers have them. Do I have some of those? I did. Not anymore. Because it's different of how I'm not going through Marvel. I'm only going through Marvel once. I go through independent now. Independent is a little bit more less requirements. So I'm able to just give the public IPOs instead of doing bulk prices. Retailers have other retailers on the list, and vice versa too as well. Like they have me on the list, I have them on the list, right? Flippers are the exact same way. Flippers have flippers. right? It's kind of like a whole Miami thing. It's like you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. Essentially, that's how it works, right? But the main goal for Black Flag is to get my money back and get some money in here, right? It doesn't matter where the exclusive belongs to and who you follow, right? Every one of them will say we are lucky enough that we have our hands in this limited print run, right? Those are all the marketing and the promotion of all the influencers and every single YouTuber sellers that you have. Oh, I'm lucky enough to have this print run. I'm lucky enough to have a few copies of this. No, they don't have. They're not lucky enough to have a few copies of this. They were contacted and they bought those shit before they were even released. And every single one of the retailers will tell these flippers and other retailers, you cannot sell these books until this date, or until we do the announcement, until we have announced it. And that's just how it works, man. That's just really how it works. And that's deceitful. And it is deceitful, but it's a common practice within the retailers. It's deceitful because you guys don't know about it.
It's also marketing strategies.
It's a big marketing strategy. Now, does this happen to other businesses out there, like beyond comic books? Of
The
course
Targets, the Walmarts of life, that's how they made their money.
The Walmarts, the Target. It's a common business practice. Is deceitful for
gas companies.
Gas companies.
Gas companies are kind of the worst of it, but like you gotta get what we're saying.
So essentially, the initial IPO doesn't really seem to matter if it's expensive at all. Like you're gonna look at this, you're gonna look at the initial IPO and you're gonna be like, oh man, $25 for this book, it's so expensive. It wouldn't matter at all.
The whole point of it is not to tell you like how much is left over that I have to pay. It's always going to be that biggest number. The initial investment is all they care about.
Yeah, so Jason's saying, oh, I have so much money on this book. You guys have no idea how much I spend in this. Yeah, I just gave you an idea. I just gave everybody how much you spend on it. And I just told everybody how much money you made from it. You made profit already before it even comes out.
He actually, like, he made massive profit the moment that he sold it to all the whatnot people.
Yeah. So let's just say that you are down $6,000 still. You're short $6,000 because you made $6,000 off the bulk prices, but not that much people bought your book. So now you're about $6,000 short of breaking even. So what he did was he slapped on a few acetates and 750 of them, right, Louis? 750
allegedly,
and sold them at $86 a piece. How much is that, Louis?
For 750 of them?
750.
Oh my god, my brain's gonna commit suicide.
He claims it's 750.
And he sold it at 85?
86.
86? You know what? Fuck your 86. I'm just gonna give you the 80 math. You fucking suck, 86, motherfucker. He is fucking from Florida. Jesus Christ. What's the other book that was right next to it? 40 fucking 2? Fucking asshole. $64,500.
$64,500. So that means at the convention, he just made $64,500. And the 9.9 and the 10s, he was selling them for like $2,000 a piece. Do not buy on the fact that he spent so much money on it, giving you some sort of self-pity, like, oh, I spent so much money, buy my books. No, don't fall for that shit.
You should understand that he dropped Marvel under the bus, the whatnot creators under the bus. I'm the only victim here.
He's the only victim. Yeah, he's the only victim. What else did he say in that video? Oh, I'm only a small business. You fucking made $64,000
on one item.
On one fucking item, and you're a small business makes $5,000 all the way down to $50,000 a year. That's a small business. Okay, you made 64
No, they make that much in profit.
So in his case, he says that he's a small business. You're not a small business, man. You just made $64,000. A small business is anywhere from $5,000 a year to about 50 grand a year. You made 64 on one convention. Not only that, the money that you spent to get, what is that, a square? Like he had like a square little
That's maybe like
display.
$300 a year.
No, but like the square like display that he had at C2E2, like how many tables is that? Four tables.
So
Let's
it's
just
four
say
tables. So
four.
roughly C2E2, I
Yeah.
think they would go onto that same boat of $400 per table, depending on the size.
Mm-hmm.
He probably put in $1,600 into it.
$1,600 already. Plus he has employees. That means I'll give you this. He also didn't bunk in the same fucking hotel room. He gave these guys like rooms on them all on themselves for 4 days.
The
For 4
artist,
days.
sure, but for the employees, they're bunking with each other.
Okay, let's just say he didn't give them each individual one, but they're bunking with each other. All right. But still, you still have to spend. You're a fucking small business. Go fuck yourself. You're not a small business. You're either a medium, large, or a large business. You're actually making almost millions of dollars a year. Yeah, you're a private company right now, and then there's no public fucking ledger that I can look at how much you make. But based on how much you've spent, based on how much you have charged, based on how much you have made, you are not a small business. That's not fucking true at all.
And it's probably not their only exclusive cover either.
Yeah, that's not the only exclusive cover, because they did Ghost Rider in April, and they did the acetate cover again and sold the exact same way. Exact same way.
The only reason why this got even any press is because he basically threw everybody under the bus.
Yeah, he threw everybody under the bus. Here's the thing. Lewis already mentioned that everybody else, that's their fault, and I'm the victim. He's using influencers, flippers, as scapegoats. He has said nothing during this time. He did a Facebook Live, but that was just him stroking his own dick.
I think that was him being smart. He knew the less he talked about and the more he disappeared out of public face, the more the people that normally are in the public would get scrutinized.
The Facebook Live that he did is just him stroking his own dick. That's all it was. And trying to get some self-pity. It's quite pathetic. It's really pathetic. So now you're left with influencers, and you're left with other flippers and whatnot to actually deal with your own kind of shit. That's horrible. That's horrible. So now who's getting blamed for all this? So again, like I said,
everybody from Whatnot or the flippers.
Again, yeah, Whatnot and the flippers. And you know who else in the center of this? CGC.
CGC, and luckily C2E2 was smart enough to say is like, we don't know what the hell this is about, but it's not about us.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
This is what I'm going to say for now. Everything that has happened is no one's fault but Jason's. This was Jason's fault. This was his decision. He's in this trade. So again, don't fall for this whole, woe is me, I'm just trying to put food on the table. No, you made a decision as an entrepreneur to sell paper for a living. You live with your consequences. And everybody else is getting dragged onto this, including CGC and influencers. And the great thing about this mini series that we're doing is that we have somebody who is smack down in the center of this controversy, who has gotten so much more heat than any other influencers out there.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Dollar, dollar. money, then